Welcome to the Motormouth YouTube channel. I'm Andrea.
I'm Zach, and we are going through our top 5 subcompact crossovers or SUVs for the 2023 model year. You want to stick around. Once we get past number 1, we're going to do some honorable mentions, some vehicles that didn't make the list but are worth looking at. Let's get into it.
Number 5, the Kia Seltos. The Seltos has two powertrain options. The base engine is a 2-liter 4-cylinder with a CVT, 146 horsepower and 132 pound-feet of torque. There's also a 1.6-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with a 7-speed automatic transmission, 175 horsepower and 195 pound-feet of torque. Front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive options are available on the base engine, all-wheel drive for the turbo. For 2024, the Seltos Turbo gets a power bump to 195 horsepower, 20 horsepower more.
So this is what's classified as the subcompact class. But people who are shopping in the subcompact class often are shopping because they're less expensive than the compact vehicles. But they still want space. And that's one of the great attributes of this Kia Seltos is even though it's in the subcompact class, it's big.
It's an affordable option, even with that turbo engine, and if you get the top trim with so many wonderful features from ventilated front seats, heated rear seats, it is just still one of the best in the top 5 that we're going to be going through for price point. It's just a lot of value.
So you get a lot of value, you get a big vehicle, you get an available second engine choice. The turbo 1.6 is very good. And one of the things you want to think about, so if you're somebody that is interested in this vehicle, the base engine's 2-liter with a continuously variable transmission. If you jump up to the 1.6 turbo, then you get what's called a dual clutch automatic transmission. It's more engaging, it's fun, it's actually quick on the highway. It's the one I would choose, but it all comes down to price point.
There's only one issue with the turbo powertrain is that it's only available on the top trim in Canada. In the US, you can get it on 2 trims, which is kind of a nice option. I also really like the seating position in the Seltos. You sit up and over the dash. I think that a lot of petite women would really enjoy the seating position, but if you're a very tall person, you might find that there's not enough headroom for you.
All right, it's not perfect. It looks good on the inside. When you get in and you touch and you interact with the dash, keep in mind these are less expensive vehicles compared to the compact class. There's some hard plastic, there's some piano black in there. It kind of comes with the territory.
I got to say, at the LA Auto Show, we saw the 2024 model, and it has the same screen, that type of look that you see in the Sportage and the new Nero. I think that it looks really sharp, and I'm excited that it seems a little bit more integrated technology-wise than the screen that sits above the dash. We'll start with pricing. We'll do Canada first, and then we'll move on to the US. The base model starts at just over $23,500, and the top SX Turbo is just over $33,500. In the US, the base model starts at just over $22,500, and the top SX Turbo is just over $28,000.
Here's the fuel economy for the base 2-liter engine. 8.8 liters per 100 kilometers in the city, 7.6 on the highway. That's 27 miles per gallon city, 31 miles per gallon highway. If you opt for the 1.6 turbo, the fuel economy is 9.4 liters per 100 kilometers city, 7.9 on the highway. That's 25 miles per gallon city, 30 miles per gallon highway.
Kia offers a great warranty of 5 years or 100,000 kilometers, 60,000 miles.
Once again, stick around. After we hit number 1, we're going to do some honorable mentions. Up next is number 4.
It's the Volkswagen Taos. It has a 1.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with 158 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque. Front-wheel drive models have an 8-speed automatic transmission, and all-wheel drive models a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission.
So number 5 was the Seltos. Number 4 is the Volkswagen Taos, and they have actually some similarities. The first thing is, this is a big vehicle. It's the biggest of the bunch, right?
Yeah,
it has a lot of room, same thing. So for people who want to save money but still move their family around with some comfort, this is an option instead of having to go up and buying the more expensive and larger Tiguan. And then remember, Andrea, we talked about the Kia having a turbo engine. This comes standard with a turbo engine.
Yeah, I just want to get back into the space a little bit. That the rear legroom, I was really shocked when I got into the Taos how spacious it really is. I mean, you'll be able to put car seats in there, no problem at all. And then, of course, the cargo capacity and then the comfort level. I found that the seats were really comfortable. The visibility, it was a very open cabin. So I think for this class of vehicle, while some people are not huge fans of Volkswagen, you cannot beat it for space in this subcompact category.
So there you go. That's why it made our list. It's big. It's got a lot of room. You don't have to go up to a compact SUV. You can get by with this. Comes standard with a turbocharged engine, and you can get the dual clutch, which makes it more fun to drive. And the reason is because Volkswagen got rid of the Golf car and they got rid of the Golf station wagon, and this replaced it. It still kind of has a little bit of that Golf vibe to it.
And there aren't a lot of vehicles in this class that come with a panoramic sunroof. Some don't get features like ventilated front seats. So it's nice to have some of these options. And you also get wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto.
All right, not perfect either. The interior is similar to those previous Volkswagen models. So the dash layout is similar to what you got in the old Golf. That'll make Volkswagen fans feel very at home. It's still the same setup though. It's not exactly the best materials on the inside, and there's a lot of hesitancy from people around the Volkswagen brand.
The dual clutch transmission can also be a bit jerky. People who go and take this for a test drive are a little bit shocked. They're expecting more of a smoother ride, but trust me, you can master it. It actually is really engaging and dynamic to drive.
So if you're somebody that likes that European fun little hatchback kind of feel that they used to have in the Golf, that's what you get with this. You get the snappy dual clutch transmission, the turbocharged engine, great driving dynamics. It's everything that Volkswagen stands for is still in this car.
The top trim is also quite pricey compared to others in this class.
In Canada, the base model starts at just under $27,000, and the most expensive model is $37,500. In the United States, the base model is $24,000, and the most expensive model is $34,500.
Here's the fuel economy: 9.5 liters per 100 kilometers in the city, 7.4 on the highway. That's 25 miles per gallon city, 32 miles per gallon highway. Volkswagen offers a great warranty of 4 years or 80,000 kilometers, 50,000 miles.
What do you think number one is going to be? Make sure you stick around for that and our honorable mentions. Number 3 goes to the north of the border Mazda, south of the border Mazda CX-30.
This video is brought to you by Car Cost Canada. Get the dealer's cost, list of rebates, plus discounted interest rates. Use the promo code Motormouth to become an expert member and get extra searches. The link is in the description below.
It has 3 powertrain options: a 2-liter 4-cylinder with a 6-speed automatic transmission, 155 horsepower, and 150 pound-feet of torque. In the U.S., this engine is no longer available. The second option is a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder with 187 horsepower and 186 pound-feet of torque. There is a turbocharged variant of this engine with 256 horsepower and 320 pound-feet of torque on premium fuel. If you use regular fuel, you'll get a little less power, 227 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. The CX-30 is standard all-wheel drive.
So the CX-30 isn't the biggest. We talked about the other ones being very big. That's not the case with this. This one is targeted at somebody who likes to drive and likes the dynamics and the feel, the steering, the brake, the cornering, all of that. This is what Andrea gets into, and that's where this vehicle shines. Plus, you've got options with engines.
Well, what's surprising is whether you get the non-turbo or the turbo, the 2.5 liter, the power is great on both of them. I sometimes wonder if I don't know if I even really need to pay the extra money for the turbocharged engine. I like the way that this handles. It's dynamic, it's engaging. Oh, it's incredible in the city, but excellent on the highway. plenty of power. It's super fun.
And they do a great job of insulating the cabin from the outside road noise and wind noise. It feels upscale, and that parlays into the interior. And this is an area where this company does an excellent job. Their interiors might not look fancy, but when you get in and touch them and feel them, they have first-rate materials.
Yeah, the top trim with the Napa leather is really beautiful. There isn't a ton of hard plastic, lots of soft materials. So I really think that this is a very upscale interior, especially for this category.
All right, so this vehicle really is perfect if say you're a young couple, you're just starting out and you want a fun little crossover vehicle, but no kids yet. Or maybe your kids have left the nest and you're empty nesters. This is a perfect vehicle. I wouldn't recommend it for anybody that has car seats and little kids.
No.
The back seat is just way too small.
Too small, cargo area is too small, even headroom in the back seat you might find kind of challenging. So definitely a single person or a couple where you don't have a load of passengers in the vehicle.
It's a special use case, this vehicle, right? And it's also maybe a great second vehicle in the family. Maybe you have a bigger vehicle. This is kind of your run around, do errands kind of car, would be perfect for that.
I really believe in this subcompact class that the CX-30 is one of the best, if not the best handling vehicle.
The CX-30 in Canada starts at just over $26,000, and the most expensive turbo engine is the GT, and it starts at just under $38,000. In the United States, the base model is $22,500, and the most expensive turbo model is just under $35,000.
The non-turbo engine gets 9.9 liters per 100 kilometers in the city, 7.7 on the highway. That's 24 miles per gallon city, 31 miles per gallon highway. The 2.5T gets 10.5 liters per 100 kilometers in the city, 7.9 on the highway. That's 22 miles per gallon city, 30 miles per gallon highway. Mazda offers a warranty of 3 years or 60,000 kilometers, 36,000 miles.
We're one away from the #1 pick. And by the way, it's a repeat from last year. It's a little tease for you. Andrea,
I think you might have given it away.
No, you have to have watched the last video, but what's number 2?
Number 2 is the Toyota Corolla Cross. It has 2 powertrain options, a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine matched to a CVT, 169 horsepower and 150 pound-feet of torque. Front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive options are available. A new hybrid powertrain is available for 2023. It's a 2-liter 4-cylinder and 3 electric motors, 194 combined horsepower and standard all-wheel drive.
So this is genius from Toyota. What's the best-selling car in the world of all time?
The Corolla.
So you've got a nameplate that everybody knows, and then you make it into a crossover. It's a Corolla Cross. Genius, right? And it's a Toyota, and that's probably the #1 attribute for this vehicle.
And now they're coming out with a hybrid, which has great combined horsepower. It really is a fabulous option for families.
Okay, so the positives are Toyota knows how to make a car, right? It's functional. Toyota does that exceptionally well. It's going to be reliable. It's going to have great resale value and all those sorts of things. But then when you dig in a little bit deeper, they actually did a good job. I found the dash was very pleasant, and the amount of space you get is really quite good.
Yeah, it's quite an open cabin. It's easy to get in and out of the vehicle. It doesn't feel too high, yet you still have a nice seating position in the vehicle. It's comfortable, it's spacious. The rear seat is very good, and then cargo capacity in this class is excellent.
So when you look at the dash, it isn't the showbiz interior. It is a classic Toyota. It's functional first, and they do that exceptionally well. We were impressed with the materials they used in it. It actually was nicer than I expected for a Toyota, so that part they've got nailed down.
And there's also some different color options to the interior, which I think is nice, especially in this class, instead of just going with black. But the interior is bland. There is no doubt about it. It's not as exciting as some of the Korean models, but it's practical.
Okay, so the negatives really come down to the noise level on the highway. We drove this on the highway quite extensively, and we noted that it really was quite noisy.
Yeah.
So this is a classic case of an urban city runaround. perfect for that. The hybrid is going to be better, but the gas model is noisy on the highway.
Yeah, and we drove it in Quebec, and the roads are not of the best quality there, and so it really stood out for us. I'm sure if we were in Vancouver, it wouldn't have seemed as loud, but you really got to look into this depending on where you live and the type of road conditions that you deal with daily.
Another selling feature for this vehicle is the price. It starts at just under $25,000, and the most expensive all-wheel drive is just under $34,000 in Canada. In the United States, the base model starts at just over $23,000, and the most expensive all-wheel drive model is just $28,500. At the time of recording this video, hybrid pricing has not been announced.
The 2-liter 4-cylinder engine gets 8.1 liters per 100 kilometers in the city, 7.4 on the highway. That's 29 miles per gallon city, 32 miles per gallon highway. The hybrid gets 6.4 liters per 100 kilometers combined. That's 37 miles per gallon combined. Toyota offers a warranty of 3 years or 60,000 kilometers, 36,000 miles.
Number 1.
This was our number 1 pick last year, and it's still equally as good this year. It's the Subaru Crosstrek. There are 3 powertrain options. The base engine is a 2-liter 4-cylinder matched to a CVT, 152 horsepower and 145 pound-feet of torque. The second option is a more powerful 2.5-liter 4-cylinder. It has 182 horsepower and 176 pound-feet of torque, standard all-wheel drive. The plug-in hybrid has a 2-liter 4-cylinder with an electric motor, a combined 148 horsepower, and 27 kilometers, 17 miles of EV range.
So why is this our number 1 pick? Well, there's a bunch of factors that come into play. Andrew just mentioned 3 powertrain options. When you combine the functionality of the Crosstrek with what Subaru charges for it, it's really a home run, and it's a nice size vehicle. So I particularly like about this vehicle is you get the extra ground clearance for places like Canada and northern US where you get a lot of snow, and the doors and the functionality. The Subaru excels at this stuff.
Well, I like that it comes standard with all-wheel drive. There's a manual transmission option, not just on the base trim, but a variety of trims for you to choose from. The tech is quite good. It's easy to use. And then I just think that the cabin is spacious and comfortable. It is actually a fairly quiet cabin. You get it on the highway and you accelerate quickly, especially with the 2.5-liter engine, and it still remains quite quiet.
Yeah, it's quite polished feeling as well. Now, there is a camp of people, so you can get the manual transmission, but the automatic is a continuously variable transmission. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but here's our advice. If you're shopping for this Crosstrek, really do consider the 2.5-liter engine. That really, in our opinion, should be the base engine. It makes the vehicle much easier to live with every day. It gets around some of the CVT-ness. I think it really is the one to buy.
And while you can get the PHEV in more places in the US, it's only available in Canada, in Quebec. So let's get into the negatives. The base engine is quite slow. Because of the CVT, it gets louder on the highway. It's not my favorite. I would definitely recommend the more powerful 2.5-liter.
So one of the selling features of the Subaru Crosstrek is it's a bit of a tweener. It's in the subcompact class, but it's a little bit longer than many of its competitors, and you get excellent front and second row legroom. However, the cargo area isn't the biggest, right?
Yeah, you're lacking some cargo space, so check that out. If you're going with a subcompact class vehicle, and you have to put a stroller back there, for example, just make sure it fits. Or you could do what we did. We bought the car and then we bought the stroller, and we made sure the stroller fit.
Here's the pricing in Canada. The base engine, base model starts at just under $25,000. If you want to get the 2.5-liter, that starts at $31,500. And the hybrid, limited availability in Canada, is just over $44,000. In the US, the 2-liter 4-cylinder starts at $23,500. The 2.5-liter starts at just under $28,000, and the hybrid is just under $37,000.
Here's the fuel economy. The 2-liter 4-cylinder gets 8.5 liters per 100 kilometers in the city, 7 liters per 100 kilometers on the highway. That's 28 miles per gallon city, 33 miles per gallon highway. The 2.5 liter gets 8.8 liters per 100 kilometers city, 7 liters on the highway. That's 27 miles per gallon city, 34 miles per gallon highway. The plug-in hybrid gets a combined 2.6 liters equivalent per 100 kilometers. That's 90 miles per gallon equivalent. When the battery is depleted, it gets 6.7 liters per 100 kilometers. That's 35 miles per gallon. Subaru offers a warranty of 3 years or 60,000 kilometers, 36,000 miles.
So will Subaru Crosstrek be a three-peat next year? Will it be a dynasty? We'll have to wait and see. So what do you think of that list? 5 to number 1, right below. Which one would you pick? Right now, honorable mention.
Well, you might be a little bit surprised that the Honda HR-V gets an honorable mention only and didn't make our list. Well, here's why. Although it's a spacious and comfortable crossover and much improved than the previous model, it's much too expensive in Canada. You will pay between over $1,400 to $5,000 Canadian extra for the base all-wheel drive model compared to its competitors. The top trim is also high in Canada at over $37,000, and it's missing features like a power driver's seat, ventilated front seats, a panoramic sunroof, and a rear seat armrest, which many other competitors have. Pricing in the U.S. is more reasonable, although you will pay a premium for a Honda. Fuel economy is just okay considering it's a brand new vehicle for Honda.
Next is the Hyundai Kona. It's also a great option. It handles especially well if you get the turbo model. It's a lot of fun, but it's small and lacks cargo space. The base engine is kind of underwhelming and feels underpowered.
And finally, the Kia Niro. We really enjoyed the redesigned Niro with 3 electrified powertrain options. Not only is it spacious but comfortable, the only big negative for many is that there is no all-wheel drive option.
So those 3 honorable mentions, they're fine vehicles. There's nothing wrong with them. They just didn't make it in the list for several reasons. The main one with Honda, great design for the new product, way too expensive. Kona's too small, and the Niro, no all-wheel drive. But you have to decide if that's important to you.
For sure. And that is our list. Type away. Let us know what you think. Tell us what your number 1 pick is. And make sure you subscribe. We put out a lot of unique content each week, and hit that notification bell. And also follow us at Motormouth_Andrea. We put out a lot of content each week and give you a sneak peek of what's coming up on the channel.
We'll see you in the next one.
This video is brought to you by Car Cost Canada. Get the dealer's cost, list of rebates, plus discounted interest rates. Use the promo code Motormouth to become an expert member and get extra searches. The link is in the description below.